All right, so this is Pitchforks and Witches and Mansion of the Dead Witch by Nameless-Designer. Hey everyone, I've recently uploaded a couple of contributions toward the OSR June Jam. Boy, it's only June 3rd. People, it's only June 3rd. You've got all month. But here we go. The first is a micro RPG funnel game titled Pitchforks and Witches, where players take on the role of a rabble of commoners who seek to defeat some threat in their village. The game can be used as a funnel game, session 0, or a one-shot adventure. The second is a short micro-adventure entitled Mansion of the Dead Witch, which accompanies Pitchforks and Witches, but can easily be used with other RPG systems as a one-shot adventure. Both systems are free to download. I hope you find some use for these at your gaming table. Please check out other submissions from other contributors as they are uploaded through the month of June. And then is that just the image? That is the image. All right, cool. We'll go take a look at this. So I don't know if people are aware, but there is an OSR June game jam. Someone pointed out I should try to get that person to in an interview or something. Maybe I will. I have to look at their other stuff. I think I've seen their stuff before. Maybe even I've talked about it, but I gotta look that up. I might try to do something for this. I'm not sure. Time is always of the essence, and my time management is not the best, and I always feel like I got way more stuff to do than I have time to do. But maybe we could do something communally. I don't know. Are other folks? Let me know in the chat or in comments later on if folks in here are going to do anything for the June Jam. I'll grab that link also and I'll post it. So here's the link. Monkey's Paw Games, I'm not immediately familiar with, but I got to look at it more. So this is the June OSR Jam, or as I typed it at first, Jame. Let's see when that enters the chat. There we go. Yeah, 26 days. This person's already put in 2 entries. Only 26 days and change left. What's this about that? An OSR game jam for the month of June. Make it a retro clone, or make a retro clone. Make a module, make a bestiary, make a spell list, make some cool items or NPCs. Make something fun that would fit in somewhere between 1975's Temple of the Frog and 1984 when Dragonlance ruined everything. All right, then we got what is an OSR, which I don't think I need to read. What are the rules? Be kind to yourself and others, and keep yourself and your work free of bigotry and hate. You can submit just one thing or multiple things. You could submit something new or something you've already created. You can and should charge for your work, but you don't have to either. It would be nice if you use the hashtag OSR June Jam hashtag to talk about it on Twitter. It would be even nicer if you rated other people's submissions. What counts as an OSR? Classically, an OSR is a retro clone that can be used to create new content and run old content from pre-2nd edition D&D. So Little Brown Books, BX, BECME. This definition would go on to include non-retro clones with an old school feel, according to some generally accepted design pillars, and now includes a particular old school aesthetic. I may be somewhat of a purist myself, as in OSR means I can run Keep on the Borderlands without much conversion work. But for the purposes of this jam, OSR is like porn, you know it when you see it. And then they've got some examples, more examples. If you're a Nazi, don't bother. And then, some more folks they point out that if you're friends of these folks, then, don't bother. And then some links to some stuff that may be helpful. Ryan Smith says I should contact Geek Gamers and do a chat with her, one of their favorite YouTube RPG peeps. All right, I'll try to remember that after stream to see what they're about. That sounds good. So that's the jam. And then we have some submissions. Wow, already got 28 entries. Wow. You know what I'm going to do? Here's what I'm going to do. A bunch of these are free, and then some of them are pay. It'll be good. I think maybe what I'll have to do is one day, I guess what we'll do, gosh, it's probably going to get to be too much. It would be cool, I think, and maybe help signal boost it. I mean, to whatever extent that a single boost from me, however far that gets you, to do a stream where we can just go over some of these OSR June jams. Maybe at the first, this would actually be, I would have said the first week of June, but this is the first week of June. Maybe a couple of weeks, maybe the midpoint and the end of the month, come back and do some specific June Jam reads. Maybe do that for a stream. Here's Mansion of the Dead Witch, which is what we came for to see. It looks like, can I just see it in the, wait, which is the first one? I think actually they mentioned, hold on a minute. The helm is in there. Let's see, Nameless Designer. We'll go back here. They've done some other stuff. Pitchforks and Witches was their free micro funnel. Can I download it? I can. I can open it. So it's a 2-pager. It's done in that fold format. Oh, interesting. Seems kind of cool. So it seems like one of these is set up that the players, am I getting this correctly? That you could almost split this in two. This is the ref stuff. Oh no, it's in like reverse order. I think this is one where you're supposed to, at least they put the page numbers on the bottom so I can tell. So this is one you're supposed to print on both sides, and when you try fold it together, you get the title trifold, and then you actually get all these pages, and then you get these. All right, so let's read the, there's no general overview, but for the players, I do appreciate that we've got split up referee and players sections, which is good. Pitchforks and Witches is a micro RPG funnel game where the players take on the role of a rabble of commoners who band together to rid their settlement of some threat. Create the rabble. Create a group of 8 to 12 commoners between the players. All commoners start with the following attributes: health 5, defense 10, a pitchfork, and a torch. Pitchfork does d4 damage. The torch lasts an hour. Get to roll on some tables for their names, their occupation, their talents, and then equipment, and you divide the equipment between the group. How to play. The game is narrated by the referee, who presents a scene, and the players who decide on their actions. The outcome of these actions are determined by the referee. If the outcome of an action is risky or uncertain, the referee may call for a check. The check is made by rolling a d20, equaling or exceeding a target number, and there's a table for that. If the commoner has a talent related to the check, then give them advantage. A reaction roll may also be used by the referee to determine an opponent's reaction or random event. Advantage is you roll twice, take the highest result, or disadvantage, you roll twice, take the lower result. And it may be awarded by the referee based on situational factors. The game ends when the objective has been completed or the rabble has been defeated. Any surviving commoners should be created as a hero in your chosen RPG system. The only thing I would say is why reinvent the wheel here in terms of health and defense? Just say hit points and armor class. If we're assuming we're using some kind of OSR D&D system and not something that's even further afield, just say, hey, we're just going to roll up hit points. You're going to have your armor class is going to be whatever 9 or 10, whatever naked or just wearing normal clothes is, and then go with that. And that way we don't have to worry about it, right? And we're just presuming that you don't have any, or just say we're assuming for these commoners that you've got, I don't know, 10s across all your attributes, or you're basically 0 across the board, something like that. And that way I like the fact that we're not going to roll up all 6 attributes, even though it doesn't take very long. You're doing 10 of these. You're trying to play fast and loose. So I get that part. Or the other thing you could do, which is one of the things that they mention in, I'm pretty sure in Holmes, I think. I don't know if it makes it in the BX or what BX does, but when you're dealing with creatures, let's say your group is battling some goblins. You roll a wandering monster check, you get goblins, the goblins show up. If you look in the monster manual, or no, monster manual's not there, but if you say BX, you look in the goblin stat block, and maybe it's probably not there in monster manual either, you'll notice there's no attributes. You don't get strength, dex, none of that stuff. Theoretically, what you can do, and I think Holmes mentions it specifically, the other ones might not, is you just roll for the attribute when you need it. So when you're sitting there and you're going, I got this goblin with a sword, I could just say they're +0. Like whatever it is, or whatever the bonus they have, whatever they hit to go with it. But if I want to be more individual, I could say when this goblin A rolls to attack, I'm just going to quickly roll up some strength, find out what his strength is, and then it's either plus, minus, whatever adds that number. Or say Constitution, because you're going to roll hit points for each one, because there's only, say, 3 or 4 of them, so you don't mind. I'm just going to roll individual for hit points. Or something else comes up where you want to roll. Maybe they're going to be doing something. Maybe you need their strength because the party, like, hey, we roll, and we had wedged open a portcullis behind us. Now we're going to retreat back behind that portcullis, and we're going to kick out our support so the portcullis closes. Then you might want to roll to see, well, can these goblins open the portcullis again? And so you might want to roll some strength for some of them to see how weak or how strong they are. Whatever it is, do that. Just roll them kind of as you need them. And I can see in this similar system, hey, look, we're not going to roll your attributes for all these characters. just as situations come up where your individual characters you might need to, then you can just roll that strength. So we won't roll your strength right up front. Maybe the first time you get into combat or the first time you want to bend bars, lift gates, or do something similar, we'll roll up strength. And then after the whole thing is done, you might have rolled up all your stats, or maybe you've only rolled up 2 of them and then you roll up the rest of them. And in that way, you feel less like you're coming in out of one system into another, and it just feels like you're just kind of using parts of the system. I don't know. It might just be a little bit easier, assuming you're running something like OSE or you are rolling BX or Brown Books or some other system that stays relatively close. Of course, if you're running Knave or something else that uses different stats, then maybe use those stats. Brian Smith says ad hoc ability scores are great. And then Pete Giant says, yeah, I don't get with the people going against the lingua franca of D&D. I mean, I get it in the standpoint that a lot of times you're trying for a different look, feel, vibe, especially when you want to be setting your thing apart from something else. In this case, since this system seems like you're using this, I mean, I guess what I would say is I would be less, I wouldn't point it out if this were its own full RPG. Hey, you're playing Pitchforks and Witches. This is what you're doing. Great. Hey, I'm using health. I'm using whatever. What do they call it? Health and defense. Fine. But this one seems to specifically be to use with other systems that you have. And at that point, I think, well, since you're using it for systems you already have, and the system that is the most popular or the biggest in terms of numbers uses these things, and why not just use the same things? And since you can use them without getting sued, you can say hit points and armor class. You probably not even have to put in any kind of reference the OGL probably to use hit points and armor class. Why not just use hit points and armor class, right? Save folks I forgot to save folks having to look it up. I forgot to link to this, by the way, so let me do that. Let's see. This is whoops. But I will say I really like the kind of angry mob theme of this. I think that is tremendous. All right, let's go back here. And there's where you can pick this up. namelessdesigner.itch.io/pitchforks and witches, or you can also find the link through that OSR June Jam. On the referee side, you create an adventure for the players using some prompts we have on some tables. And there's also a pre-prepped adventure they have, which we will look at momentarily. We have some elements. The adventure location should be explorable with multiple pathways, have objectives to interact with, equipment to scavenge, treasure to find, dangers which should be signposted, and challenges which can be overcome in a number of ways. And then we can use another table to populate the location, give each denizen a special ability. Where do we get special abilities from? Or are we just supposed to figure this out on our own? And then basically, this is something I like. It's not giving you specific creatures. And I've had this on my mind to do for myself, so it's kind of interesting if someone else does it. They're just telling you, hey, the size and then their basic attributes. And then you skin them and do whatever you want to them on the side. Brian Smith says, if this pamphlet doesn't have a gnarly witch random table, they'll be sad. I think you're going to be sad. This one doesn't have it. I would have called it maybe pitchforks and torches, because I agree with you. There's no witch here. Though it looks like in the adventure that kind of goes along with it, there is a witch. Running the game. Player agency, time, 10-minute exploration rounds, random encounters. After each exploration turn, roll a d20. Random encounter incurs on a 1 or 2, and this increases by +2 each turn until it resets after an encounter, and you don't roll it during combat. That's an interesting method. So it turns out, you're only going to have a 10% chance each exploration turn for an encounter. However, it's going to increase by 2, so you're getting a 10% increase each time until you have one. So there's definitely going to be the one interesting thing here. So I like this wrinkle. It really adds to the tension as you keep building up. And as the party, I presume that that if nothing's happening means that something is going to happen soon. It would be kind of cool if you could do some things to try to lower that, maybe by a random number, so that you could take an action that might have some other kind of consequence. Like, let's say, like hide in the dark or something else where you could then lower that chance, but you don't know how much you're lowering it by. So you could kind of go up, do it, and then, it's going to go down, or you could keep running it. It seems like there'd be a lot of cool stuff you could do with that, but even at this simple level, I like it. I like that idea of the tension. The further you're going in, You're just creeping around knowing something's coming, but you don't know what. And then reward creativity, combat and survival. Combat can be deadly. Each turn takes a few seconds. You roll initiative, you roll attack. It's a d20. Damage is by weapon damage. And then death is when health reaches zilch. Which makes sense. And then morale. Yes, I can pull the link down. Absolutely. There it is. All right, I've pulled down the link, and I will just give a quick scroll. So we have names on table A, occupations and equipment on table B, talents in table C. And I think you could, I don't know if this is the special abilities that they were mentioning for creatures, but you could probably apply it to both. Equipment, and then wounds, denizens, adventure creator, all that stuff. And hey, Brian Smith, it is free, so you can just go to itch and grab your own. Also, free to do it, no reason not to. All right, and as we're winding this thing down, let's take a look now at that other one, which is Mansions of the Dead Witch, which is that here? It is here, and now it is here. Using a Dyson Logos map, Mansions of the Dead Witch. This is a fairly extensive map. A lot going on here. A single level, but it's fairly complex with some. I guess kudos to Dyson. I like the mix of outdoor and indoor on here. So we have these. It's a big map, but it's you have some outdoor areas that intertwine with several buildings that give you some indoor areas of different types. There is one upstairs. All right, I will fault the map for this. Why is the arrow to this level not by over here? I feel like shouldn't the arrow be like from here and then give me something to that so that it's much more clear? Because otherwise I'm looking at the stairs going down and then my eye wants to follow this arrow and say, well, from this corner, wait a minute, that doesn't work. Luckily, there's not a lot of other stairs and stuff because I go, there it is. I mean, and this is but the thing is, too, is I'm guessing because I can't, how do I know for sure? Because Dyson doesn't write the adventure to go along, he's just providing the map. So I might have done that a different way. But hey, I'm not an expert cartographer. He is, so I will just, I'll go with the fact that presumably he knows better than I do. Brian Smith says it looks very familiar. They may already have it. It very much has a small DCC funnel vibe to it too. Yeah, I think that's definitely the point. And then Brian Smith also says something about dead being the adjective is not hitting my ear right. It's got to be more fantastical. Maybe yeah, that's true. Is the witch dead? Is the witch a witch of dead things? I don't know. All right, can I expand this? Is there a increase? Yes, I can. Let's blow this up. All right, so I'm not going to go through every room. Just going to take a look at it. So this is Mansion of the Dead Witch. An evil witch captured and occupied a knight's home to conduct experiments and occult practices. I guess the thing is the witch dead? And we have exit. So on, just to scroll right back up, we have a secret or a room secret. Not a secret room, but a room secret. And then we also have monster locations that have X's, which I like because we've got our grid. If we are moving people specifically, we have excellent ideas of where these monsters are in relation to the rooms, which may be important. And then we've got the numbers. So what are the things that we have? We have these Arbor Knights that are they animated? All right, let me just read the box text here. For the players, the people are cursed. The dead have risen and a dark shadow hangs over the village. Grab your pitchfork and eliminate the source of the threat. For the referee, a comatose witch lies in the mansion preserved by a magic necklace which causes evil dreams to become reality. Removing the necklace will stop the dreams but awaken the witch. I like that. I like it because it's got a bit of a twist. Because you've sort of got a positive and negative outcome. If you don't take off the necklace, then, well, the dreams are going to keep becoming reality, which are bad. But then if you do take off the necklace, then the witch wakes up. Pete Giant says, fallen would be better. Though, is she fallen? I mean, that's the other thing which we don't get from this is, did she put the necklace on and then she just got old and died, but then got preserved because of the magic of the necklace? Was this something else do this to her? I'd like to know a little bit more about what the necklace is like. What are the pros of keeping the necklace on her? I mean, obviously she's asleep, but then it seems like the side effect is worse. Is this just what the necklace does, or did someone do something to the necklace to twist it? It's almost like, is there a third option? Someone put the necklace on her to defeat her, did it, but she's trapped, not dead, and now her dreams are leaking out. Is there something else to do? I suppose the answer is kill the witch and then remove the necklace. But maybe I don't know. Depending on how your alignment, not even going to say the alignment, sort of the morality of your players and party, would they do that? Because that seems to be the perfect answers. Well, when you get to the witch, presuming you can get there, kill them first, and then take the necklace off, or kill them and leave the necklace there, since it doesn't seem like much good is going to come of that necklace. Brian Smith says maybe the rabble would just call it a dead witch, not knowing the details. Yeah, or like maybe the Death's Head Witch or the Dreaming Witch, Mansion of the Dreaming Witch. Maybe, I don't know. We got armored knights, and the only thing with this, I feel like I'm just being nitpicky, but couldn't we call them undead knights or something so that I know? Here it's animated, but I'm wondering, is it suits of armor that are animated? Are they dead knights that are animated? Maybe armored skeleton knights, armored zombie knights? You got the space. Something would just help me there to give me a little bit more about what they are. Ooh, they've got damage resistance, which I guess is their... No, it's not their defense. Damage resistance. Do they cover damage resistance in those rules? I don't think so. What is damage resistance? Why give them damage resistance? Why not just give them some extra health or some extra defense? Could be someone who has fallen from grace about fallen. Yeah, no, it works, though. I think of witch as somebody who's already not in grace to begin with. So then it's... who knows? But I'm not necessarily against it. I'm just trying to think of other words. But yeah, fallen would work. Sleeping would work. Dreaming would work in terms of, because I don't think this is actually referring to anything that they know, because they probably don't know there's a witch there at all, the locals, and they just know about the dead. So you could call it, say, Mansion of the Dead Knights, which would be more accurate to what the people might actually be experiencing. I think this is more a flavorful title for us, the people who are reading it. Brian Smith says, if I'm a farmer with a pitchfork and come across a weird dead witch, I'd cautiously stab it and then try to bury the whole thing, cursed necklace and all. I agree, which is maybe what you would do in this game is, pitch them out. So we got some armored undead knights, I'm presuming, something called a brain stomper, which is a large pulsing brain on 4 lawed legs. What are lawed legs? 4 lawed legs. Somebody help me out here. What is a lawed leg? Because I don't know, but it's got psychic damage and will knock you out. Creeper plants, grabs opponents and chokes them. We got some giant rats, giant spiders, an ooze cube. I'm guessing that's to avoid certain copyrights. Is that a gelatinous cube? No, it is an ooze cube. And then we get some regular skeletons. We get a white, and then we get the witch. The wicked witch with powers of the occult. It's got a hex, a curse, and it can summon spiders. And then there's some zombies. I like all these. I guess the ones I'm curious about, because they just don't fit to me, are the creeper plants and the brain stompers. More the brain stomper than the creeper plant. Like, how does that fit into? Is that something we're expected to think that I guess you could have an excuse for anything being there because the witch is dreaming it up. But that one seems like it fits in a different... That to me is like the mad scientist Dr. Frankenstein kind of thing, that like in the fantasy version of Frankenstein, you've got his failed experiments, some of which might be brains that he's grafted legs onto, and maybe now they're coming alive, or they did become alive, but they didn't do what he wanted to, and now they're just running around, or he uses them as assistants or something like that. I'm not sure that it to me, it fits the witch theme. It's interesting here that there's that it maybe doesn't lean into more witchy kind of stuff or things I think about with sort of witches. Where are the like homunculi? Where are the like birds and beasts? I guess the creeper plant maybe fits in with that kind of witchy vibe, but I don't know. It almost feels like you could get a little bit more witchy, a little bit more witchy. Ooh, witchy. Get a little more witchy with it, but nothing wrong with it. And we got some random encounters. Could be zombie skeletons or skeletons patrolling, skeletons guarding, skeletons patrolling, giant spiders, a brain stomper, hunting for living things to crush. I could appreciate that. A white that's searching for the potion of life. Are they thinking there's a potion of life here? What has given the white the idea that here is a potion of life? Here's where I would like to say, don't tell me it's searching for the potion of life. And then I'm thinking, like, what does the potion of life? A, what is the potion of life? B, why would it be here? What gives it the idea here? Like, this is where you say there's a necklace This necklace clearly has some powers. The white wants the necklace. Or maybe, and presumably there could be multiple whites who are all converging on the necklace. Might be an interesting thing. It gives me a more flavor of what the necklace is about. It reinforces the thematic things about the necklace. So lean into that. Don't introduce potion of life. I mean, maybe they're going to say in one of these hidden rooms there is a potion of life. So that could be it. But it just seems like, why not use the thing that's at the center of this whole interesting scenario, which is the necklace, and just lean into the necklace and not introduce other things. And then we got a bunch of stuff. Pete Giant says they're going to go make their weary, wonky limbs monster stat block. Brian Smith asks, is there even a cauldron? I mean, there's probably is somewhere in here. All right, I'm going to go through these quick because I'm cognizant that I'm low on time here. So we get the entrance. We have a barracks, a study, a side entrance, recreational area. There's a quarter, a prayer room, another entrance room, an armory, a vault. I'm kind of looking to see is somewhere there hidden a potion of life. Courtyard, the treasure room, a trapped room, the trapped room of a purpose. Smooth crack in middle of floor to room 12. Lever on far wall in middle position. Up locks the door behind the target. Down opens the floor and drops people into a pit. D6 damage. Middle closes floor, trapping anyone below. But what was that room before it became just a trap room? You got a room with a pentagon, a study, a cupboard, a collapsed floor, an indoor herb garden, a machine room. What does the machine have to do with stuff? What was the knight doing with a machine room? A monolith, an alchemist room, a shrine room, a fungal garden, a spider's lair, a storage room, a dining area, a tomb that's got the witch in it, trophy room, empty corridor, empty room, fountain room, pool of clear water, not a potion of life, fountain room, which has a pool of murky water, supply room, burial room, empty room, barricaded room, brain stomper's lair. Are there any potions in this at all? I'm just going to do a quick search because I am super curious. Potion. Well, there it is. I missed it. It was in the alchemist room. There you have the potion of life that the white is looking for. Brian Smith says they're underwhelmed by this one. Bummer. I don't know if I'm underwhelmed. Look, I'm picky. I'm always looking around and thinking, and I think this would make a fun adventure. There's certainly a lot of stuff. The couple things that just are interesting, how long they've been working on this or when they posted, but either this stuff was I don't know if this stuff's been hanging around itch for a while and then they just added it to the jam. It's just one of the things where I look at it and think, wow, this is really cool. The map is super interesting. The story is kind of interesting too, but I guess I just want more. And this is another one where I look at it and go, look, you're a digital product. If giving me another one of these pages where you can give me some more backstory and you can write things out a little bit more and you can talk about what the knights were doing, if this stuff, if the witch inherited this stuff from the knights, then what were knights doing with these weird machine rooms and monoliths? Did the witch put those in? Did the knights put them in? Was somebody else here? Like, who had the alchemist room? And like, where, like, why, and who? That might be helpful. Like, there are potentially multiple whites, or maybe there's just one. Even the explanation of you can randomly encounter a white somewhere, but if you encounter it once and defeat it, cross it off because it's not happening again, right? That would be kind of even nice to just have that little bit of, or I guess we have two. Is that meant to be? And they're not the same either, which I guess is interesting because one of them, well, that's the witch. I was wrong. There's only one white. My mistake. I was reading witch is white. So we got the white, just that kind of thing to let us know. So there's a lot of interesting things here, and I think it would be a fun kind of romp on. And I'm really going quickly through the rooms. I just see stuff like searching for the potion of life, and I suppose I get it. You're an intelligent undead. You don't want to be undead anymore, I guess. Do you want to go back and become living? Maybe. Sure, so that makes sense. But I also look at and say we have this very enigmatic necklace that we as the party are supposed to be getting. Here you've introduced this kind of faction here with this white. Maybe the white and this, why not have the white, the skeletons, and the zombies as this undead faction with the white at the top of the chain commanding these things, and they're all looking around in their way for whatever the witch is entombed, which maybe is hidden away somehow. Make that kind of a puzzly element, and now you have a competing faction of whatever stuff that the witch put out. Maybe the witch went to sleep in the same way that I always think about in Excalibur, when Merlin uses up so much magic that he has to go to sleep, and maybe the witch is doing that same thing. Something's going on with the necklace is happening. These undead folks, for reasons, are coming after the white, is coming after the necklace. Maybe they sensed it when whatever happened, the great conjunction happened, and so the necklace started emitting the witch's dreams, their nightmares or whatever, out into the world. This somehow alerted the white that this thing was out here. They're coming. You're coming. Now you've got this kind of triangle of the witch, the party, and the whites, and you can play with that. Adding in like the potion of life, it to me just is it's not that it's bad, because you could certainly have some interesting things with, if you encounter the white, could you make a deal with them because they want the potion, they don't really care about you, and they're going to curb stomp you anyway, pretty much. I mean, I'm thinking of a white by the books. Maybe in this kind of white, they're not as strong, but chances are, maybe even in this mode, immune to normal weapons and stuff, the white's going to get you. So he tells you, bring me the potion and you'll live. Then you find the potion, something like that. But I just think like going with the necklace, if it says, bring me the necklace and you live, just as strong. And again, it ties more together. That's my thoughts. But I don't think there's anything inherently bad with it. And I could see running it. Certainly. Pete Giant says, how about a sarcastic machine room that insults the PC's equipment? That might be pretty good. Yeah, and this is where I think sometimes where, and I can't say this person had this idea, but it's almost like, did they feel like they needed to shoehorn in more gonzo stuff? So you end up with machine rooms and weird monoliths with electric wires and brain stompers that are fun from a gonzo point of view, but then are maybe a bit weaker thematically. I don't know, but you're kind of trying to get some of that gonzo-ness, inject that bit of gonzo in. I don't know. So I think if you're going to go gonzo, you could totally do it, but then just lean into that. I think you have a really fun sort of medieval fairy tale, gothic kind of story. I would think lean into that. Brian Smith says, all the random rooms and creatures included and stuff aren't getting my imagination going. I could definitely use some sort of nudge, suggestion, things being interconnected. I think so. The witch is asleep the whole time too, like magically put to sleep. I don't know. Yeah, they haven't said it. Yes, Brian Smith, feel free to take this in the forums and we can discuss it. I guess that's as good a place as any because I got a jet.